What do rabbits like to eat?
Lettuce.
When I asked you this question, maybe most of you in this room thought it would be carrots, no? The truth is, most rabbits prefer other vegetables over carrots. This thought that carrots are better for rabbits actually causes people to harm their rabbits by feeding them the wrong foods. Sometimes carrots can harm rabbit teeth. So why did most of us automatically think of carrots? This is a stereotype. It's a stereotypical thought that we all thought of that rabbits eat carrots based off of what we have seen or know. You see, we use cognitive shortcuts to come to fast conclusions. These cognitive shortcuts are called heuristics. Heuristics actually help us a lot in our everyday life. They help us make fast, quick, and mostly correct decisions. There are many different types of heuristics, so not all are related to stereotypes. And although heuristics can be great, they can also be bad. The representative heuristic contributes to the way we form most of our stereotypes. It takes something you've seen over and over again and makes you expect it to happen again. Let's go back to our carrot example. In this example, one of the sources was the cartoon Looney Tunes. Bugs Bunny is a character in this cartoon. This bunny always eats carrots, so when young kids see this multiple times, they start thinking it's true and that it applies to all rabbits. You see, we are exposed to lots of information through media. Therefore, most of the stereotypes we have today are also strengthened by media. I also had stereotypes. Back in the day, when I was younger, I formed a stereotype based on males and females. My mom stopped working outside the house when she had me and my sister, and she took care of us. When I saw her every day after school at home, not outside working, it made me think she never worked, even though she did. I just never associated her with working outside the house because it would either be when I was at school or after my sister and I fell asleep. My dad also worked, but he worked full time. He would wake up, eat, go to work, eat, come back, eat, and finally sleep. As you can see, my dad enjoys eating quite a bit. Well, I can't blame him, so do I. The point is, my dad was outside the house more than my mother. Therefore, I associated him with working outside the house. This was my experience. Females take care of the kids at home, while males, on the other hand, go to work outside. Then one day, at the end of school, I saw my friend's dad come to pick them up. The next day, the same thing happened. And the next day, and the next, and the next, and, you guessed it, the next day. So I went up to my friend and I asked him, "How come your dad isn't at work?" And the response I got was, "What do you mean? My dad doesn't even go to work." It was hard, but I realized that not every family was the same. Now that my knowledge on this topic had changed, I no longer had this stereotypical thought. Moms can work, dads can work. Moms can stay at home, dads can stay at home. Forming this initial stereotype about the roles of women and men was wrong. Here is my second question. What do you think is the most common attribute of a donkey? Most of you probably thought a donkey is a stubborn, lazy, or just dumb creature. This is actually wrong. Donkeys have very good memory. Whenever a donkey is exposed to any situation which in their mind associates with danger, as a protection instinct, it stops moving. The real reason for this is when it senses danger, it freezes and assesses the situation. It won't move until it figures out exactly what the safest move would be. In a human's life, there are similar negative stereotypes. In fact, the situation is quite similar. Once a person faces prejudice, they are more likely to exhibit a lack of self-control. It's also harder for them to make good and rational decisions. They even eat more unhealthy foods. This shows how individuals are affected by negative stereotypes. Another thing stereotypes can cause is senseless or just wrong relationships. You might become friends with a terrible person just because you thought they were a good person. Maybe the exact opposite. You might not become friends with an amazing person you would just love to be friends with, just because you had a stereotypical base for them. Another thing that stereotypes can cause is in school environments. When kids are at a young age, and if they form stereotypes at a young age, as they grow up, it will be harder to get rid of them. Therefore, I think schools should prevent stereotypical thinking at a young age so this problem won't happen. Also, not only should teachers treat students equally, but students should treat other students without stereotypical thinking. Another thing that happens is just because you're from a certain type of group, some schools might not accept you, or you'll just be treated differently. In order for us to learn and develop, having friends with different backgrounds and different cultures is better for us. It helps us communicate, helps us have empathy, it helps us have an open mind to new ideas and new opinions, and it lets us celebrate different cultures. Now, think of a stereotypical thought you had. Nowadays, our society is multicultural. Look at our school. We have 47 different nationalities. We are learning to value everyone, regardless of their religion, culture, gender, ethnicity, color, or any other aspect. We have to realize when we make assumptions about other people. Because remember, the brain can trick us. What you expect is not always what you get. So I invite all of us to start over and stop yourself when you're forming a stereotype. When you're thinking about a certain group of people, remember that all people are different. We are all different in a good way, but you can only find the positive differences in people if you start on a blank page.